Be ready. 5 seconds. Start. Mr. Chairman, sir, I may be permitted to initiate the discussion by putting a question to the government. I would like to know whether the government did have prior consultation with the states before initiating this piece of legislation. My query flows from a particular perception of the federal system of government. In a federal system, it is generally accepted that even though a subject might lie within the exclusive jurisdiction of the union government, but the exercise of the union power over such subjects may affect the interests of the states in some way or the other. Here, in this particular case, I do admit that the Government of India has the power to legislate over this subject, but it would have been better for the government if they had consulted the state government, particularly because the financial implications of this legislation are going to be borne entirely by the state government. You know, sir, that the money to be paid by way of salaries and allowances of the governor of a state are entirely charged on the consolidated fund of the state. I would be happy if the Honorable Minister reacts to this query of mine when he replies to the debate. Sir, the entire process of this legislation reveals a clear failure on the part of the government. The statement of objects and regions appended to the bill makes another documentary confession by the government that it has failed miserably to arrest the price rise in the country in spite of its lofty pronouncements of pursuing a sound economic and fiscal policy. The bill smacks of a larger confession that the price rise has reached such proportions that the government, in all haste and eagerness, has thought it prudent to come out with a bill which seeks to increase the salaries and emoluments of the head of the inmates of the Raj Bhavans of the states by 100% per month. Sir, I don't think whether a day will at all come when the government will show at least 1/100th of such eagerness to stand by and protect the millions of our toiling working class who have also been worst victims of this price rise, which is a concomitant of the government's policy. Coming to the content of the bill, I am strongly opposed to it. The working of our constitution up to this time has proved it quite unfortunate that the constitution provided for the post of governor is a legacy of the imperialist administration. You are aware that during the British days, the governors acted as the ears and the eyes of the Governor General and the foreign ruler. But in the changed context of an independent India having a democratically elected administration in all the states, this system seems to me to be quite anomalous. There was a lofty theory floated regarding the governor that he will be an effective link between the center and the state, but it is not so. Sir, you are aware of the fact that the qualifications prescribed for the governor in the constitution is that he must be a citizen of India and must have completed 35 years of age. But beyond this literal provision of the Constitution, many eminent members of the Constituent Assembly laid emphasis on the calibre, background, and qualities of the persons who will fill this post. Shri Jawaharlal Nehru's idea was to have persons from outside, eminent people who have not entered into politics to a great extent. But what has been the result subsequently? What did we witness? Sir, not only political persons but most partisan people sometimes were appointed governors in different states by the ruling party in the center. There are so many examples. Sir, the post of the governor has been used by the ruling party in the center to accommodate rejected politicians of the country by giving them berths in the post of governors of states. Instances are not rare when a Congress leader was to be sent outside the state because of functionalism within the party by making him governor elsewhere. Such abuse has been made of the governor. When the members of the Constituent Assembly laid emphasis on the calibre and qualities of the persons who will be appointed as governors, here are cases when persons against whom strictures were passed by the high courts were made governors. Sir, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru said in the Constituent Assembly that a person to be appointed a governor must be acceptable to the state and that is in keeping with the healthy practice of cooperative federalism as distinct from a dualistic federalism. Sir, another side of the picture is this. In case of appointment and dismissal of ministries, in the exercise of prerogatives under Article 200 and 365 of the Constitution and generally in exercise of powers which call for the discretion of the governor, the circumstances in accordance with the wishes of their real master sitting in the center. In so many ways, this post has been abused. Honorable members must be knowing how many times the office of the governor has been misused by the center. There were cases where specific people were sent to the states for specific purposes. Instead of doing any good, it has already done a lot of harm to the otherwise fragile fabric of federal polity in our country, and its abolition will mean removal of at least one irritant in the strained center state relations in our country. You are aware that in federal constitutions, including that of USA, Canada, and Australia, need for an intermediary between the federal government and the federal units is not felt. It should not be otherwise in our country. As I was saying, an alternative institutional arrangement can be made and a sound mechanism can be worked out. I would like to make a suggestion about functioning of governors.